tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are director Jon Lawrence Rivera and Dr. Iris Levine. Director Jon Lawrence Rivera was born and raised in the Philippines. When he was a senior in high school, he went to Sydney, Australia, and then toured the world with the singing group called Up With People. Jon has been nominated twice for the Ovation Awards and has numerous awards in the directing category. And he's also a founding artistic director of Playwrights Arena. Did you end up going to college in the U.S., Jon?
I did. I started off at LACC studying film, actually.
Oh.
And I was using the actors in the theater department. And what happened was that all the actors in the theater department kept asking me to direct them in their scenes. And eventually I started leaving the film department and working with the actors in the theater department.
But you weren't a music major? I mean, you must have been a good singer. I mean, did you?
I was an okay singer. I danced mainly and Up With People.
Oh, you did? You danced? Did you?
I danced.
So you didn't play an instrument?
I did not play an instrument, no.
Oh.
I mainly danced, and I had one solo. I had actually the theme song, the Up With People song as a theme song.
Well, were you going to be a dancer then?
No, I was always interested in theater. I thought I was going to be an actor, but I really enjoyed directing, you know.
So they kept asking you to direct. You left school, and that's how you started?
That's how I did. Four classmates of mine, we all chipped in at that time in '84, chipped in $500 each and rented the theater and created a play. It was a Melfi 2-1 acts by Melfi. And it snowballed from there. People started asking me to direct other pieces.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So you don't really direct from a point of music, with a music point of view. I was thinking maybe you did because you were singing and.
You know, a lot of the way that I direct has that kind of point of view because it is very musical in the way that I think about. Even if it's a standard straight play, I have a very musical sensibility that I use.
And does it have to do with choreography? I always think a director needs to know choreography,
Indeed.
Right? To move people around?
Absolutely. And I love the heightened movement on stage. So
you got an award for this Songs from a New World?
New World, yes.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Jason Robert Brown had written this musical called Songs for a New World. And when we did it here in Los Angeles, what I've done was to create a storyline within this it's basically a music review, and I forced a storyline and set it in a cafe. And so everybody was singing all over the place, all over the audience, and made it an environmental piece. So
it was all new song, new work?
New work, yeah.
And what was the accompaniment?
We had 3 instruments.
Oh,
we had
a
drummer, and we had a piano, and we had a bass player.
Oh, so
it was really a fun production.
And then another award winner was Jessica, what's her name? Hagedorn's play, Dog Eaters.
Yes.
And that played in L.A.
It played in L.A. 2 years ago, and it is opening at the Kirk Douglas next year.
So it's going to come again.
Yes.
And what is that about?
It's about the plight of the Philippine people during the end of the martial law. And it's quite epic. There's about 20 actors playing 45 different characters, and it's quite a huge presentation.
Does Jessica did she research it, or is she Filipino?
She is, and
she is.
She is, and she wrote the novel about 5 or 6 years ago, and then then she rewrote it and adapted it into a play.
Did you help her because of your Filipino background, or did you know?
No, it actually opened at La Jolla Playhouse first, and then it went to the Public Theater. And I wasn't introduced to I knew about those productions, but I wasn't introduced to the material until about 2 years ago.
Oh, and then another award winner was Oliver Mayer's what was the name of that?
Conjunto.
Conjunto.
Yes.
What does that mean? Junto is people, right?
The literal translation is conjoined.
Oh, conjoined.
And basically the play is about uniting different races together to work together. It's set in 1942, right after the war, and right during the war, and just before the Japanese were being taken under internment camps.
But the thing with Conjunto, it just
Yes.
like sent me thinking. It was a new play.
Yes.
And it was done at Playwrights Arena, which you were a founder, is that
Yes,
right?
I am, yeah.
And tell me about Playwrights Arena, because since we're talking about this new play, I
Yes,
was trying
yes,
to get it all
yeah,
together.
yeah. Well, Playwrights Arena, I founded Playwrights Arena in 1992, and it started because of the LA riots. And I thought during the riots that the city needed a theater that would support local playwrights and local artists, and so that's when we started doing work on Playwrights Arena.
But Conjunto, this is what now my mind
Yes.
clicks back.
Yeah.
Oliver co-founded with you.
No, Oliver.
he
No, he
didn't?
did not. No, he
Oh.
did not co-found Playwrights Arena with us. Although Oliver has been a very big supporter of my work for many years, and knows it, quite well.
So it's always new plays? Do you
Always new-
audition? How do you
yeah,
get them?
always new plays by LA playwrights only.
Oh.
And we audition every time each production is coming up. We audition for each show, and because it is a very diverse productions that we do, we have to really cast the net so wide so we can get a lot of people in there.
Well, we've talked about a lot of playwrights. You've also directed at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
I have, yeah.
And at where else? Primary Stages.
Yes, in
and
New York.
in New
Yeah,
York.
yes,
And
yeah.
different. Does it matter what the stage is or what the city is?
It doesn't. One thing that I really found very exciting about New York is that the community is much closer and much tighter. So that was very thrilling to me.
They come to
Because
support you?
They come to support the work. And in Los Angeles, even though the community is there, it's quite spread out. And so it's harder to have a sense of community in Los Angeles.
So the Louis Alfaro, you've directed 2 of his
I
plays,
have,
right?
yeah.
What do you look for in a playwright? Do you look for your friends to direct their things? I mean, how do you get?
No,
how do you
it
decide?
actually, I mean, Luis and I became eventual friends after I started working with him on Straight as a Line. But I find material that really connects to me as a person and what I'm feeling at that time. So. It's nothing specific that I'm looking for. I'm not really interested in kitchen sink dramas. I'm more interested in heightened, text and heightened world of the play. So
kitchen sink means what?
kitchen sink means like it's mostly a 2 people talking in across the table and talking about what's happening.
Like we're doing?
Like we're doing now, and instead of like more movement based, and like I said, going back to that musical training, I feel
see.
like I love like having choreography and be part of the play.
Are there any playwrights that you haven't worked with that you would love to direct their work?
I would love to have a chance to work with Nilo Cruz.
We talked about him.
Yeah.
He's a great player.
Yeah, with Susan Laurie Parks.
she's good.
She's fantastic. But because they are here in Los Angeles, I mean, especially for Susan Laurie Parks, that there's a real union for our theater.
So does the playwright come in and work with you as a director?
Absolutely.
Do you welcome them
They
into
do,
that?
and actually they stay on from the beginning of rehearsal to the opening.
Oh,
They're
they do?
there, they're part of it, they're integrated into the show.
They do.
Yeah.
One of the, talking about playwrights,
Yeah.
Jose Rivera,
Yes.
who wrote the
References,
references to Salvador Dali, but he also did the Motorcycle Diaries,
That's right.
and he was nominated for,
Yes, for an Oscar for that. Yeah.
Do your 2 names get confused, Jose and John?
All the time. When he got his nomination for Motorcycle Diaries, my email was filled with messages saying, "Congratulations for your nomination," and it wasn't for me; it was intended for.
Did you know what it was?
Yeah, so I
You knew it
kept
was-
saying, "No, it's you send it to John, so please send it to here's Jose." So, yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about that play that he wrote.
References to Salvador Dali.
Yeah.
We just finished doing it, and it was an actual wonderful experience with Jose, because I was trying to do different things with it that was done in New York.
It played in New York,
It played
and
in
it
New
was
York.
an award.
Yeah, and it won an
winner.
Obie there, and I was trying different things with it, and he was very open to it, and which was great, because he said, "Oh yeah, adjust this line. Oh yeah, you can use it this way." And
But
yeah.
there weren't the references to Salvador Dali, which, of course, being an art person, I was
Yeah.
going, oh, there's going to be all this Salvador Dali stuff. But
That's
it
right.
wasn't really. It's like a mystic.
It is. It is. It has a very mystical, surreal element to the play, and the idea of the Salvador Dali painting is just a notion that this woman is having.
It's just something,
Yes.
I say.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it must have been difficult to direct, because it did have characters acting like animals.
Coyote and a cat and a moon is in there.
Yes.
Yes, I think there's a lot of it that that Jose was trying to work in, like Lorca's
was
themes
gonna say, are there social
with Blood
issues?
Wedding and with those kinds of plays where surreal elements come into play into our world.
And when you look at a play, do you look at those social issues? Do you want to do something
Very
like that
much.
because there's more meat to it?
Very much, yeah. I just finished doing Into the Woods at Actors Co-op, and Into the Woods is a fairy tale, but I had put in a war theme to it.
Oh,
Just
so
because
you can change
because it was
things?
because I feel like that is important today, and so instead of just using Into the Woods as a fairy tale, I wanted to put in a little bit more about what is happening in the world today.
And then, I know, I said you got so many awards. You've gotten over 80 awards. You keep racking them up. Do you have room to put all these at your
Well, it's most of them really are for the production itself, and so there's a lot of it that that it's not that I keep them all. So.
Do you look to Broadway? Do you look to film?
It's interesting. Everybody asks me that question, and I'm not gearing for film, but I am really gearing towards like a bigger production. Like the Kirk Douglas step for me is an exciting one.
That's a
And
big theater.
Yeah, it's a
that
big
that has
theater.
how many seats?
It has
say?
about 300 some seats in there.
So then the
yeah.
next step
and
is
then next
above?
step is going to another regional theater. Maybe South Coast Rep, or maybe something like at Hartford Stage in Connecticut. Some other level, and then hopefully go to
Is
to
that
New York
how
to
you
Broadway.
do? You just keep
You sort of like
moving?
go into a different level as you go along with with your work.
And how do you rehearse your actors?
There's a lot of things that I try. I do a lot of improv.
Oh, you do?
Because I always tell my actors that the scene doesn't begin when the line starts. It begins moments and weeks before it. So
you have to be a part
I
of
need
it?
to know really what happened. What was the conversation outside the door before you walked in? So we do a lot of that kind of work. So we do like, okay, so go outside and then have that conversation and then come in. And so you carry that whole world with you instead of just walking in and then that's the beginning for you.
So that's kind of your style.
Yes,
Because
yeah.
I think all directors have a certain
Different ways,
imprimatur.
yeah. Yes,
and, yeah.
that's right. And I love improvising with actors, and collaborating with.
Do you listen to them?
I do. I listen to anybody that would, if they have a great idea, I want to hear about it, and if it's great, I'll incorporate it somehow.
Well, we're so happy you came today.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm
Thank
so
you for
glad.
being with us.
Thanks.
And thanks for watching Jon Lawrence Rivera. We'll be right back with Dr. Iris Levine. Hi, welcome back. I'm Joan Quinn, and I'm here with Dr. Iris Levine, who was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts. She has a bachelor's degree in music education from the University of New Hampshire and a master's in choral conducting from Temple University, Philadelphia. Iris is the choral director at Stephen Wise Temple and is the founding artistic director of Vox Femina LA. Is that right?
Vox Femina, Los Angeles.
Vox Femina.
Right.
Was music in your family?
Well, it was somewhat in my family. I mean, my mother loved music, and so she would be one who would always take me to see Boston Symphony Orchestra. She would take me to other kinds of performances and wanted to make sure that I had a musical background as I was growing up.
So you didn't do, but did you play an instrument?
Yeah, I played piano as I was growing up, and then when I went to the University of New Hampshire, I studied piano as a music education student.
To teach? Is that what you would be doing?
I wanted
is
to
that
teach
the
in the public.
idea?
Yeah, I wanted to teach in the public schools.
So that's
And
what music
so-
education is
Right.
to take, I see. And then how did choral conducting come about?
Well, as I pursued my love for music education, I taught for a while in the elementary schools, and then went on to get a teaching position in the same district, but it was teaching chorus in grades 4 through 12. And so I started working with young kids and bringing them into the life of choral music.
Did you sing? Did you sing?
I did sing, but it wasn't my first love. Really playing piano was
But
what I
how
loved.
do you know? How do you know about their voices if you're not singing?
Well, I did sing when I was in college. I mean, but all I'm saying is I never studied it as if it was my private instrument.
That's
you
what
learn
I-
about that when you're in school.
You do?
Absolutely. Oh my God, there were so many classes. You have to do some private study with teachers. You have to learn about what does it mean to build the voice? What does it mean to build a choir sound? All of those kinds of things.
But is that in music education?
Yes.
Is that the specialization of
That's
that?
the
I see. I
specialization.
see. Because I wondered what the specialty in music education was. So you have to learn to build a chorus?
Absolutely. I have to know what kinds of things young students will go through as their voices develop, how to help them develop that, how to build a good tone, how to use breath support, how to articulate correctly with diction, all of those kinds of things.
That's a music teacher?
Yeah.
In the elementary system? That's pretty
well,
good.
it's not necessarily in the elementary.
But all the way?
All the way, yeah, certainly going through the middle school and the high school. Students
Yes.
are learning all of those kinds of things, yes.
Is conducting also included?
A little bit. I mean, I certainly had some studies as a conductor when I was in my undergrad work, but I knew that I loved it as I was about to get my master's degree, and then furthered my studies by getting my doctorate degree at USC.
But how do you, you got a doctorate in conducting?
In choral conducting, yep.
So it's just a specific choral
Yep.
conducting?
Yep. I've conducted orchestras and I've conducted other instruments, certainly.
But how do they compare then?
Well, one of the things that's important to remember is that the choir is using text. And so if you think about the beauty of the text and how you want to shape phrases and how you want to deliver a message, it gets done through the use of text.
But voice?
Yes, but I'm saying the voice itself is speaking the text.
I see.
So it's not just, like a string orchestra who is just playing notes. They don't have words to help describe what that music is about.
Oh, I see.
The message is truly being delivered through the text.
So you really have to listen to the words?
Oh, yeah. That's really one of the basics of choral music, is to be able to understand the music and the text and understand how it is married, essentially, to the music itself.
Oh, that's so, I mean, you don't think about any of those things. I mean, when you go and you listen to a chorus, you go, oh, listen to the way they blend.
The beauty of it, right. But it's the message that's, one of the most interesting things about choral music.
What do you do at the Stephen Wise Temple?
I'm the choir director there throughout the year, but primarily for the high holidays.
And what do they do? They have a chorus?
We have a chorus which is based with some volunteers and some professional singers who come in, and we have a series of rehearsals to prepare for all of the high holiday music. And I've been there now for 18 years.
But just voice?
Yes.
No instruments involved?
Correct. This is just a choir.
So then you've been there 18 years, but in the meantime, during that 18 years, you founded Vox Femina, right? Did I say it right?
Vox Femina.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're not alone in doing that.
Vox Femina.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 10 years old.
It's 10 years old. This is our 10th anniversary season.
And what did you pattern it after? What were you thinking when you founded it?
Well, I love the idea of community choir. I feel very strongly that choirs which come out of the community itself have a very special message to deliver, because it's your average person who's trying to come in after their whole long day of work. It's your teacher, it's your social worker.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, these are all different kinds of people who come together for the sole purpose of rehearsing this music and making beautiful music.
Are they singers or some of them think they're singers? What do you do in those situations?
We have people from those who studied music, certainly, and when they were in college, all the way through people who sang maybe 10, 20 years ago, but haven't since and are just coming back to it. So there's a whole range of people, and they have to reach a certain kind of musical excellence before they can be a part of Vox Femina. They have to audition, they have to pass an audition by singing certain things for me and exercises for me and show that they have that kind of musical excellence.
Can they go back and rehearse and practice and then come back to you
if
and
they
show?
didn't make the first audition?
Yeah.
Yes.
They can do that?
Yeah.
So what kind of performances do you give? What was your idea of what you would be performing when you started, and are you doing that now?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we did was we represented a well-rounded women's community. And so the people who are part of Vox are either, I mean, they represent both the lesbian and gay population, they represent bisexual women, and as also heterosexual women. So we bring together a family of women. And the music that we perform also represents that. So some of our music speaks to women loving women. Some of our music speaks to also what one might consider to be the sort of traditional relationship of man and woman. Sometimes it's women's issues. I mean, we've done concerts that were about breast cancer. We've done concerts that are called Celebrating Women and the different kinds of things that happen to women along the ages. We did one where it was sort of from the beginning of, you know, birth with a woman and then taking you through all the different kinds of stages that you go through.
As a mother?
Yes, as a mother, as a daughter, as a grandmother, you know, all of those kinds of things.
Where do you find the material?
I do a lot of research.
I mean, is there a lot of that written? Is it written out there, or do you commission people to write things?
Both. I mean, we certainly do some standard choral literature. We also do some literature which comes from what we refer to as world music literature. So I'm researching music from Argentina and Venezuela, and we're doing pieces on this upcoming concert from Romania, from Australia, from Basque country. I mean, there's so many exciting things that we do. Plus, we do certainly commission new works, and I would say we're very proud of the fact that in our short time we've commissioned 10 new pieces.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is this this CD? Simply tell us about this.
That was a CD we did about 5 years ago now, and on there are some of the pieces that we commissioned. The Alarcon Madrigals Book 2 is on there, and that was written by a gentleman named Roger Borland, and we actually...
Oh, Roger Borland.
He's a local
very
Los
well
Angeles,
known, yes.
UCLA teacher of composition, and a very good friend of Vox. And we just commissioned him to write a third set of Alarcon Madrigals for us.
Well, you're at SC. Does that matter?
No.
I have to stick SC in there.
We have a very good relationship, actually. And I teach out at Cal Poly in Pomona.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
And then you have another one?
This is our newest CD, which is just being released this week, actually, called Still I Rise. And it features the cut tune on there, Still I Rise, is actually a gospel piece that was written by Rosephanie Powell from Alabama. She wrote the text and she wrote the music itself. So this is one of our new commissions. And this CD celebrates our 10 years. There are exciting performances, live performances from over the last 10 years.
Do you have any musical accompaniment?
We usually perform with piano. Sometimes,
you do?
Sometimes we perform certainly a cappella, meaning no
That's
accompaniment.
What I thought,
yes.
Yeah.
But we perform a lot of the time with piano and sometimes with additional instruments. I mean, we certainly have performed with string quartet and percussion and wind instruments. We do a lot of that.
Well, when you're conducting, you conduct that part of it too.
I conduct everything.
You conduct everything.
Yeah.
And you do use a baton?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I do.
Because choral always seems like they use their hands.
It's more about using your hands. You get to shape the tone.
Is
with
that
your
why?
hand. Yeah. So if you think about this is the place that you shape the tone as you're conducting, and you get to use that to be able to shape the tone.
So what does it make? It makes it more full? Is that what you're doing?
It's a more rounded sound. Yes. If you think about the baton, there's more of a point to it, and the articulation is more for the instruments with that. So it gives them a very clear articulation.
So you start everyone how? If you were going to start conducting, getting the chorus together,
yes,
you do your hands
absolutely
like that together?
Uh-huh.
So much. Did you learn that in school?
I did. I learned that from some very wonderful mentors, actually, along the way.
Who has mentored you?
Actually, someone who from the Los Angeles community who has just recently passed away, Jane Harderster. And she was a wonderful mentor for me. Rodney Eichenberger at SC, a mentor. And at Temple University, both Alan Harler and Janet Yamron. They're people who have certainly played a very large role in my life.
And it's so wonderful that they're willing to give, and then they see you rising to the top too. Have you thought of starting Vox in other cities?
No.
Would you do that?
This is truly about Los Angeles. I mean, one of the things about Vox is that we feel like, you know, we sing for the love of Los Angeles. That's what it's about. We represent the communities of Los Angeles, and we sing for the love of Los Angeles.
And obviously you're singing here, but do you travel and sing?
Yes, we do some touring, limited kinds of touring, but we have gone to Montreal, though, for a festival there. We sang in Colorado. We've been throughout California, and we're hoping to continue on that trend.
How many are in your chorus?
There are 38 singers.
Oh, maybe that's hard to travel like that.
Yeah, it's not so easy. And remember that they all have families and they all have commitments, because it is community. It's not like you're in college where you just pull the students out of, you know, that. But this is a community where the women have a lot of their own commitments to home.
What kind of venues do you work in?
Most of our performances are at Zipper Concert Hall,
which is so beautiful.
It is gorgeous, and we are so fortunate to have that as our home.
Right across from Disney.
Right across from Disney, as part of the Colburn School.
And it's a very kind of friendly.
It's an intimate setting.
It's very nice.
It's almost like a small Disney in the way it's set up, because of the wood that's in there and the beautiful chairs that people get to sit in, and there isn't a bad seat in the house.
Right.
You know?
What about churches? Do you sing in churches?
Yes, we have certainly sung in many churches. We have a series that goes up into Altadena, so we have our concerts that are up there. We've sung in Pasadena. We're going to be at the Wilshire United Methodist Church in March. So we've been at many of the churches around.
And because you have 38 women, do you do any kind of outreach? Do you go to older people, younger people?
Yeah, we have a number of community kind of concerts that we do. And we also sing for the LA County holiday special that they do every year downtown at the Dorothy Chandler. We go out and sometimes we carol at various locations as well. We've certainly been part of some of the community outreach things down in Long Beach, up in Pasadena, throughout Los Angeles and West Hollywood. We've done a number of community
kinds of things. Do they call you, or do you search them?
They usually call us.
They find you?
Yeah, they usually call us.
So here we have, you're doing all of this work.
Yep.
Do you ever sing with them?
No, I do not. I don't. This, my job is to be leading them.
I see. And do you see this going on for a long time?
I hope so.
Can we make it bigger? Can we make the chorus larger?
We actually like it at this size.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah, it's a sort of intimate size, for singing in a choir. There are certainly other groups that are much larger, 60, 80, even 100 singers. But you lose that kind of intimacy.
What do they wear?
They're very formal black, but they get to choose whatever they want to wear so that they look beautiful at all times.
I see. Oh, and you've been so great. Thank you. Thank you, Iris Levine, and thank you for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles. Keep writing to 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles 90017. We'll see you next time on the Joan Quinn Profiles. Fabulous.